actually like really enjoyed your presentation. It was very clear. And I mean, this is kind of, you know, unrealistic size of how you project your movie. But still, like, it's kind of like very fun for us to actually scare. And also, like, the tone of your voice was very, like, robotic, which was, I don't know, very, like, fitting for the book in a good way. And maybe, like, maybe you can take one step further and how, like, kind of trying to figure out how to make it into a real architecture. And Chris, number 2 in Mike, I like your script. I like how you do the research, especially in Mike. Like, actually, Mike's presentation made me nauseous because I copied from the version. I don't, but, like, one comment is that, like, what's the point of explaining out to kids? Like, just didn't get the point of perspective and stuff. Like, in the end, like, what are you trying to do for the people? Like, what are you trying to, like, what are you trying to make them, like,
I guess
That's actually, I think, a really good point. I mean, you know, going back to the sort of the discussion of, or the, you know, the example of, you know, Greek architecture is to sort of create a sense of grandeur. And so, you know, the illusion shouldn't be just, but it's, you know, it's not, I don't think, you know, in the context of here, it's problematic, because you guys are learning how to kind of play with illusion, but the illusion shouldn't be, you know, the thing in and of itself. It should be a tool to get to somewhere else.
I think I kind of disagree with that. If it's a museum about illusion, you know, I think that makes sense to me. And I like that you worked it so much into the structure. So that's a different perspective. I mean, actually, you know, I thought there was an interesting were you done? I'm sorry. Okay. I thought there was an interesting contrast between the 2 illusion presentations, because you, Chris, seemed to be focusing on, you know, you said that the city revolves around people, and I like that you brought up these performers that were, you know, kind of street performers, or they have that about them. And you seem to be kind of, you know, catering to people and the exhibits and the experience that you go through going to a museum. And I thought, interestingly, you focused more on the illusion worked into the architecture. And I thought, I mean, I don't know how architects do this, but, you know, like, if working together isn't against the law, you know, it might be interesting to, like, you know, have it be a collaborative process to some extent, you know, because you guys were really strong in these different ways that I thought, you know, overlapped kind of interestingly. I mean, you worked that into the architecture as well, but you seem to be focusing on that, you know, the illusion. And I like that. I thought that was, I was into that, but I guess they're making the other point. Aside from that, the dreams was fascinating. I mean, I thought that was maybe the, you know, the most powerful visual I've seen so far. You know, powerful in a good or bad way. It was very sci-fi to me, you know, kind of scary. And I guess I just have a question about the feasibility of that, as well as that. I mean, you're a scientist, right? Can you do that? Can you project dreams like that? I mean,
not that I know.
Well, I mean, this is sort of. I mean, that project is a sort of based on like a technology in the future.
Okay, yeah.
So it definitely doesn't kind of exist.
Oh, well, I mean,
today.
there are a lot of visionary architects that, way back in like the 1900s, that came up with stuff that, you know, you would never principally.
Right.
But it's always, I think it's very important to hold on to stuff like this, because you never know. I mean, where things are going to go. So,
right. It's very sci-fi.
I mean, it's good to hang on to that side as well as the pragmatic side.
I mean, I worked in a branch of science that was invented 50 years ago,
Right.
but is only technologically applicable, capable, like, within the last 5 years. Like, we're going through this huge boom, but, like, 50 years ago, they're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could do this, and now we can.
Right.
I mean, sci-fi, though, is not something to be, I mean, a lot of architects like myself really love it in the context of, you know, it's not this sort of fluff thing, but it's really, when it's done well, serious and rigorous sort of future studies, you know, an investigation of kind of what the future holds for the human race, and therefore, you know, once we sort of figure that one out, then we can, you know, design architecture around that future human race. and, you know, not sort of, you know, creating architecture based on, you know, preconceived notions of kind of the static now moment, but that sort of future moment is I think a very good quality to have as an architect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I don't know how these projects were organized, but there seems to be, you know, you definitely all have this theme of bending perception and questioning consciousness and the agent versus the other and observing each other, and, you know, it's cool stuff. I like it a lot. I guess my last comment would be, Chris number one, right? Because I didn't get
That's the
I really liked your, you have a real handle on your vision, and I liked it a lot. And I guess the one thing I would say, I don't know if it was, you incorporated this or not, but you know, I thought there's a lot that you had in your presentation, like explaining why altered consciousness is desirable, and you know Hendrix up there, and you have a lot of like sort of personal poetry in there about, you know, how you feel about altered consciousness, you know, and I thought maybe in addition to just sort of these nodes where people experience some kind of alteration, if you also have some kind of space where you you know, pay homage to that or explain the goal of it, you know, and like show people the point, the purpose, because I think it's very clear in your mind, and you presented it really well to all of us, and I totally get it, but I don't know if I think that should be part of the museum as well, you know. And that's all I got.
I'm mentioning on Chris and Mike's points on the illusions. I mean, it called to mind, I guess, two schools of thought, I guess. One would be, I mean, kind of towards Frank Gehry, very sculptural. You come up with a sculpture first, and you figure out how to build it. So you come up with a shape, and then you take the structure and mold it to the shape, and then you cover up the structure. Or there's kind of like a very BCJ approach where the Apple Store, I don't know if you've seen the Apple Store on Fifth Ave near Central Park with the staircase, the clear staircase, right? That's a very structural clarity approach, showing the structure as it should, like as it is, and not trying to hide anything. It's trying to show all the structure and what it needs to show all that structure. So you can go either way, but choose wisely, I guess. So I mean, just think about that as well when you're designing projects, like structural integrity and getting that through in your design, or you know, whether you want to express something else in a shape or form, and then within your illusions and whatever your designs are.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if that's it, let's move on.